Yeah, why not? Yeah, sure.
All right, so recording has started. So we'll just get started with a quick intro, Coach. So I'd like you to start, and then we'll go one by one afterwards.
Okay. So yeah, I was just a little bit from my background. Okay. I'm a retired Air Force pilot, and was always into cycling. And after did I did cross the Alps, that's when I was totally hooked, and also totally hooked to training itself. So that's when I bought a road bike to control the training a bit better, and then it all happened. So after 2000, I was basically almost half professional in it, and doing. If I did sports, I mean, it was mainly cycling, right? And so um, yeah, that's the background. How I came into the power cycling world was basically I was over as a soldier still, as an Air Force pilot still in America, and that's how I met Hunter Allen, when I met him, and how we came together. And so I did all the training courses, and I was a coach at USA Cycling as well. Now I'm obviously back in Germany, and being a coach there as well from the German side. So that's how I came into the power training world, and that's how I met Hunter, and obviously basically am the CEO now of Peaks Coaching Group Germany, German part of it. Yeah.
That's excellent, Coach. So I think a lot of people would know about Hunter Allen. He's a world famous coach as well. So he's working with the United States Olympic team. So anyhow, so we'll just carry on. Next up, we'd like Vikram. Vikram, you could talk a bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, Coach. Vikram here. I'm 38 years old. So I've been cycling for about 15 months now, after a gap of 20, 21 years probably. So I've been enjoying my cycling. And started off with a hybrid for 3, 4 months, and then came to road cycling. And then I met Srivatsan, and then it's just been, moving forward at a very rapid pace. So I participated in my first local club level ITT, I guess, in April last year. And ever since then, I've been really interested in speed and performance, that part of cycling. So generally, I'm a very competitive person internally. So I'd love to explore the maximum potential that I have in cycling. And my focus at the moment is just the local amateur circuit of cycling, and I'd like to really see some good gains. So that's what it's all about. I've never been through any structured training in the past. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes and to understand it better and to go along the flow.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vikram. Thank you. Next up, I'd like Hari to talk a bit about himself.
Hi, Coach. Hi, Srivatsan. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yep.
So, hi. I'm Haricharan Kumarasamy. You can call me Hari. So I basically started cycling in 2016, 17, and I took it up quite seriously. Then I dropped off. I didn't because of work and other things. I had to drop, and I lost touch with cycling after probably 2 years. Then again, I picked it up in 2019, late 2019, 2020, and I've been very serious with road cycling since then. And been training with Dr. Amit Samarth, primarily on the endurance front, ultra endurance cycling. I've done a couple of ultra endurance rides. Since 2020, I've done my 4 super round runners. It's all primarily on endurance and ultra endurance. And after 2022, I got in touch with Srivatsan for my bike fit, not specifically for any issues particularly, but just to fine tune certain things. And I got to know about road racing and ITT. So I was very much interested. I wanted to shift from uh, uh, focusing on BRMs and brevets and take up road cycling. I've taken up road cycling very recently after Q2 of 2022, and so that's where it is. I've done a couple of racing things in the local circuit, and I've done a couple of ITTs. I want to improve myself in the racing and ITT and take this forward to see where I can. I'm currently 41, so I just want to see where or what best I can do in terms of like getting competitive in this field of say ITT and racing.
Okay, awesome.
So I currently use a power meter. I have a heart rate monitor. So I used to train myself like because my coach was predominantly on the endurance front. So I used to train with Trainer Row for the past 1 year. So I couldn't find much success or kind of the focus was not there on what to train, how to train. So that's where I'm.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
Sounds
Hari.
good.
Okay, next up, can I have Rajesh? You can talk a little bit about yourself. Rajesh, I think
Still
you're
silent.
on mute.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm unmuted. I hope I'm clear now.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Coach. I'm Rajesh, 44 years old. I'm into cycling for the past 2 years. That is especially just before the pandemic, I started cycling, and then because of COVID, it just took a break, and again started it after 7-8 months later. And now for the past more than 1.5 years, I'm cycling, and mostly it is all endurance. And in between, I just had a small shot at ITTs and all. But the main focus for me is to lose weight through cycling and become a fit cyclist so that I can concentrate more on ITTs, because now my weight is a major deterrent for me. And at 44, I don't want to break new grounds and all. So if at all I'm going to do ITTs, it is on the local circuit kind of. But later, maybe after 1 or 2 years after this ITT thing, I want to be a very strong endurance cyclist. That is to do that at a good pace. Right now also, I have done a couple of 600 as a part of my SR thing, but that at all is like without any rest, without any sleep kind of, and that too predominantly on flats. So the average coming anywhere between 17, 18 like that. That I want to, as a progression of this fitness part and other things, I want to be a very strong endurance cyclist. And till the time my health permits, I'm willing to do this local ITT thing.
Okay, sounds good. Good.
So I have a power meter and a heart rate meter. No smart trainer at home. That's the thing. Thank you.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, next I'd like Aaron, you could talk a bit about yourself if possible.
Hi, Coach. Hi, everybody. This is Aaron here. I started cycling, serious cycling, I think about 2.5-3 years back. I used to cycle a bit before. I think I made the progression like everybody. Started on an MTB, then moved into a hybrid, then got a Claris group set road bike, and then progressed into a Sora, and now I have a proper carbon race geometry bike. My entire goal of cycling here is what started as for like everybody else. I started as as a fitness routine. It's become a bit of I like the competitive side of cycling, so I've done a bit of the local club races and a couple of ITTs, and I've also completed 1 season of the local cycling league here. So the main reason or my main objective of this training will be to make myself a better competitive cyclist. So that's the entire goal. I'm 39 years old, so hopefully get fitter, and when I move into the masters category, I give a run for these guys. so that's one of my.
I think we have a lot of masters over here.
So once I make a jump into that category, I really want to give these guys a tough one. So that's my main criteria. So I like to become a fitter, faster cyclist. I think that is my main objective of this training. So currently I have an HRM with me. I'm in the process of getting a power meter. and probably in
Okay.
due course of time, I will be getting a trainer as well. I
Yeah.
just got myself a bike, so I put all my money into that. So I'm just in the I'm just
Yeah.
in the process of getting a power meter. Hopefully in the next 2-3 weeks, probably.
Okay. Okay. Which one are you getting? I mean, that's interesting for everybody now.
I was leaning more towards the stages or the 4i, a crank-based meter. No.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No. So say, I mean, it might be a little bit more costs, right, to buy
Okay.
the pedal-based Faveros,
Okay.
and you still can go single side. There's no biggie with having only one side, right?
Okay.
It's just what you always want in a power meter is a precise one. So
Okay.
on the same occasion, the power meter should indicate the same number.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So at the same power level, it should indicate the same number all of the
All the
days.
time.
And unluckily, I like the company when they came out, but they're just not there yet with the stages. I mean, they're there for long times, but it's just not precise. And that's the main thing why I don't recommend it. It's telling you under the same conditions every day a different number.
Different number.
And that's also really bad to enter a training program, because now you don't, I mean, you think you know where you're at, but you actually don't know where you're at. Okay. So that's the thing. Rather save a little bit of money, and I highly recommend now. I mean, that's the best cost to benefit ratio now, what the Faveros offer. Okay. So rather save the money and buy those, because the other thing is more like guessing, right? And better stay with heart rate. That's for everybody. So if you're interested in a power meter, better talk to me than if you're in a group scheme, definitely before you get one, right?
Sure, definitely.
Because I see some of them, and even I wouldn't even recommend like an SRM, which is a super high price, right? Okay. But on the pedals, they are not good. Okay. On the cranks, they are excellent. So there are differences in the companies as well. So or if you find any other thing, right, just email me, because I tend to see a lot of files, and I can tell you which is solid, right? It doesn't need to be high priced. It's just a matter of the equipment itself, right? Of the product itself.
Okay, and even the Faveros, even if it's a single side, it's still good.
Yeah. Okay. If you have the chance to, one thing for the single sided.
Sorry, that's my daughter.
Now.
Bring her in, Aaron. Bring her in. It's okay. She's the future.
So, no, trust me, she's not going to let us have the session.
No, again, for everybody, single side is not bad. What I highly recommend though is maybe just try to get a dual-sided power meter. Try out if you're completely off the scale, right, from left to right, from a balanced kind of side. Okay. And if you're not, if you're close, and close is also 55-45, right? So 5% on either, that's close enough, right? Then go for the single-sided and buy that one, right? So it's just a matter of testing once if you're like almost even, and if you're almost even, single-sided is totally fine, absolutely fine. Great. But you need a precise one.
Okay, thank you, Coach. I think first step, I think that's all. I think that's answered a lot of questions for a lot of us. Thank you so much. That's great insight.
And one more thing, just to sum up the whole thing. One is that the power meter is precise, right? Telling you the same story every day under the same conditions. The other thing is, if it's also great if it's like true meaning that it really is super accurate, right? So it's if it's 280 watts, it is 280 watts, even in a laboratory environment, right? Where you could really see, okay, is the watts, are the watts the same? That would be a true one. It doesn't have to be true to enter a good training program, but it
Okay.
needs to be precise.
True.
And
Correct.
that's one more thing. Don't intercompare your all power meters or your all wattages, right? It's kind of telling you a story, but 20 watts are nothing, right? Because then the duration is getting into play and all that other thing. So you might still lose against the guy who's more aerodynamic and still getting 20 or 30 watts less of power out than you are. So don't intercompare. True is the greatest thing, but precise is the most important thing for a power meter.
Okay.
That sums it up basically.
Yeah. Thank you, coach. Thank you.
Okay, I think that answered quite a few questions actually. So one important thing, coach, is a lot of people are actually a little confused about power training versus HR training. So we'll get to that. We'll just introduce the last person, and he's the youngest of the lot. He's 18, getting ready for his board exams. Tarun, would you like to just talk a few words?
Yes, I'm Tarun Krishna. I'm 17 years old. I started cycling when I was 13 years with my hybrid.
Oh, wow.
And 3 years back, I brought my first roadie, but wrong size. So that last 2 years, I'm using it proper. 2 years, last 1 year, I'm racing, but not consistently because I have exams. From April, I wanted to train continuously because I have a gap for 5 months for college so that I can train and I can compete for nationals. I'm planning to buy a new trainer and a road bike, TT bike or normal road.
Excellent. And precise pedals.
He was asking me these questions just yesterday. So it's good that we are having this call today, coach.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so I think yeah, go ahead, Tarun. Sorry. Yeah.
From April, I can start coaching because I have board exam till my March.
So again, I didn't get it. Sorry. Hold on.
He's got his exams in March, coach. So he said after that he'll be able to commit to coaching and
yeah. Okay, I got that.
That's the only problem for him right now.
Okay, sure. No, that's not a problem. That's not a problem.
And most of the others who are going to be part of this group training, coach, who can't join today, they are of similar categories. They are either in the mid-20s or mid-30s, and they want to really work on improving their endurance, become a good, strong ITT specialist, or do well in road races. I think to the guys in the group right now, some of the important questions that they have is, how is this training going to work? Like, everyone is people are from different parts of the city. Some people have power meters, some people have trainers, some people have a heart rate monitor. How will they be able to work in a group plan? And why is power important? Why can't we just do it with heart rate, for instance? I think that's a huge question that many people have. So you're the perfect person for that. So maybe we can just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So yeah, first of all, difference about heart rate and power meter, basically. Or let me give you a short story about myself, and then and then you probably know why a power meter is a great tool to have. So in 2008 or so, I bought my first power meter, right? So it was a hub-based rear wheel for my road bike. And when I had it, I was like, hey, cool, now I have power, now I know everything, right? So I don't need to ride with my heart rate monitor all the time. No, that was actually the wrong choice. After a few weeks, I realized, because it's one more value initially, right, which might overwhelm you initially, but the good thing about that value is that it's really telling you the story like you would go into a gym and do strength training, right? Because you go to a barbell and you say, well, 5 kilo is too less, 20 kilos is probably too much or right now, but I know that I can lift 10 kilos with a bicep curl for 20 times, right? So that's why you choose the 10 to 10 kilos. In cycling, only looking at heart rate, which is kind of lagging, everybody knows, which is kind of influenced by caffeine, by sleep, by heat, obviously. So all those kind of factors playing into heart rate means it's not a good value initially to tell you where you're at, right? How much, I mean, how big is the weight I'm carrying right now? I don't know. A power meter will tell you, because it's just the physical thing you put out, the physical work you put out. It's just telling you that. It's nothing more than a physical value initially. And actually it's the power is actually calculated out of two things, which is, one is the leg speed, so how fast you're pedaling. We know that, that's cadence, right? And the other thing is how much you push the pedals during every pedal stroke. Obviously that differs a bit, sure enough. In one position there's more force on the pedal than on the upward stroke, but fair enough, the power meter will calculate it out. And so you have the combination of the force and the velocity. So that's really important to tell you what you're doing physically on the bike. And in the end, if you don't look at the power itself, just watts, in the end, it's just after 1 hour, you can exactly say, this is the amount of energy I put into my cycling, right? Where with a heart rate, yeah, you can say, well, I did an average of 140, 150 heart rate, which might be tough for one guy, but might be almost a recovery rate for the other person, right? So heart rate is always really difficult to tell where the intensity was at. And so that's the main deal, basically. So dialing in the watts and then looking at the effects it had on your body, which is heart rate, tells us the whole story. And that's basically how power meter training evolved so much that now even the television reporters now are telling you some watts, right, during the Tour de France, if you look at it. So yeah, that's why the combination is perfect to have.
True.
So
like,
I would
like you said,
highly recommend.
No one
Yeah, I
talks
would
about a
highly
person's
recommend
heart
everybody
rate or anything. They only talk about the power numbers, even in the Tour de France commentary. They don't talk
Oh
about the
yeah,
heart
yeah.
rate. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also because, I mean, studying, everybody knows the bell curve, right? Where some guys are right in the middle of it, right? So all the calculations, like maximum heart rate calculations and all that stuff, that works for those guys who are in the peak of that curve. But there are outliners on the left and on the right, and yeah. And I see that a lot. I mean, everybody goes like, oh, or in former times, everybody went like, hey, I did 160 beats for 2 hours. Well, yeah, for one guy, this might mean a lot, but for maybe a young guy, it's nothing, right? So 160 is like standard. So that's a big difference. If the older you get, obviously we know that the heart rate is decreasing, the heart rate value. So for a 60-year-old, that would be a super high number actually. But still, he might still be a guy who's reaching almost a 200. So yeah, you're not sure. With power, it's a lot easier, right? And yeah, look at some transitioning from the pure endurance side, because on the pure endurance side, if you do a super long ride, heart rate is a great tool to have and is a great indication, because it doesn't really matter if you do 120 watts or if you do 180 watts, right, on the breves. It's more, you need to look more at the feel, and you actually need to eat. On the other side, having seen and having coached guys doing kind of breves or doing, one was in Italy, doing a long Italy ride from Nice to Rome, I guess, in a few days. So the other thing, again, talking about energy, with a power meter, even on those kind of rides, you know how much you need to eat. And that's a super important thing as well, because if you pedal for 12 hours, you kind of get lost, even with those low numbers, those low energy outputs, you might say as well. After, in the end, it's adding up to a lot of dishes with pasta and rice and potatoes. And if you visualize it, right? And that's what you need to eat, because you can't just carve off the fat of your body, because there's no 100% fat burning. That's the deal for our for humans, basically. So we always need to have those carbs. So you need to eat massive amounts, and even a power meter will tell you in this case. Yeah. Even if you don't look at the watts, now we just are interested in kilojoules, right? How much kilojoules did I expend? That's what the power meter tells you as well, or kilojoules in this case, I should better say. Yeah. But it's a precise number, and again, you know how much to eat. Yeah.
I think
So
that's very interesting that you brought that up, Coach, because many of us are kind of clueless about nutrition, honestly. You know, I mean, we have power numbers, we can say 240 watts, 250 watts, whatever it is, but you go into an event, people are clueless as to when they should take a gel, when they should consume electrolytes, you know, everything is, and some people don't even eat anything before they come to an event. So,
and knowing how it is, I mean, even up to the national levels, right? So I always break it down a bit. So it's, so you can also apply it to your daily routine. It's not super complicated, but with a few figures just in your mind, you can do the right decisions at times, right? And this goes up to the national levels. Yeah, I mean, you need to fuel your ambition, right? That's how, I don't know, Nike or whatever company was advertising. But fuel your ambition is a really great slogan, especially in endurance sports, right? If you're in a gym, well, yeah, you can eat all the time during a gym, right? But being 3 hours in a road race, it's kind of tougher to eat. So that's when you need to have a plan. How much do I need to eat at all? How much do I need to eat, and when? So that's basically those things which come into play, because we basically are just burning a lot of calories. It's endurance sport is more like calories, where lifting obviously is more like weights and more like force, right? So they don't care too much about how many kilocalories they've spent after to pure weight training. So that's the big difference from strength training to the endurance side of training. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just before we carry on, I set the meeting for 30 minutes. Is it okay if we spill over for a few minutes, guys? Coach, is that okay for you as well?
We can push it a bit, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, perfect. Yeah. So I think the next question would be, about the group training, coach, and how a plan, having an A event or a B event, how that's going to play a major role when we are training as a group, So if everyone has the same goals, then it's obviously easier for you. But how is this going to work out? That's a question that the group had.
Yeah. So what I highly recommend is, I mean, joining a group coaching only makes sense if you do it like for a period of time, right? So I would like to go ahead and do it for 4 months, right? So do one block of 4 months and then continue, right? What I would do as well is to put, and I did that before, so it works. I know it works. It's just a matter of everybody needs to know what they need to do. If they are told that they are in track 1 or track 2. So I basically divided the group in 2 groups inside one training plan. And it just works by I'm telling you, maybe Aaron, I tell you, hey, you're in group A, the other one is in group B, right? Rajesh, for example, is in group B, so you know which workouts to pick. How do I group, or how do I divide the groups? How do I figure out which group you're in? It's basically a matter of looking at the either power files, or maybe initially listening to your training you did before and giving you a different kind of workouts. So one group will be like more intense group in the sense of they will definitely spend more time above their threshold at times, right? And then they come back, where the other ones basically need to gain more economy out of their bodies, right? So they will be in a group where it's more like longer interval blocks, but obviously then below threshold riding, right? And that's how what I did with the former group, and it works really nice. To get the correct intensity, I would also provide those guys who are in that group with the higher need, or who need to go to a higher intensity. I would also provide them, if I have power data, a power number, or maybe a little bit of advice on how they can hold up their heart rate, because you can also do that with heart rate. You just need to be cautious not to enter too hard, so you're always dying down. It's more like gradually getting the heart rate up to a certain point, which is almost your max, right? So, but I can guide you through that as well. And so let's stick to those having a power meter. I'll tell you then, okay, now you need to go to that power for this amount of time, right? To elicit your maximum aerobic fitness, and or your to the max aerobic burning, basically. And that's how it worked really nice last time. So that was my plan. Build 2 tracks, have those guys needing more intense workouts getting into those, and then having the other ones getting basically more economical, right? So looking at tempo, sweet spot, more kind of riding for everybody who has a power meter. That's what they know, but it's below threshold, basically, what we try to do. And what do I have here? Yeah, the references for the guys only training with heart rate, still possible, but they will shift like pre-planned every 6 weeks, the groups, okay? And that makes it, at least after the first switch, that makes it better than every training plan, because a training plan, you start at one point, right? And then it just follows along, and you don't know if at the start you're in the correct track, right? So after 6 weeks, basically, if you're dropping into the other one, then you probably also know, okay, well, now it's getting better. Or you'll see, since you're in a heart rate group, you'll see the speed come up at certain points, okay? Because that's the only thing really how they can figure it out, on how if they got better and how they got better. Mm-hmm. There's a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Hari. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. I have a question, coach. So my previous endurance training used to be something like this. Like every week, I used to in the training peaks, I used to get these. For example, there will be one strength training per week, and there will be one interval training, very generic interval training. So, for example, 5 minutes load out, and then I do 2 minutes of all out, and then there will be 3 minutes Z work, and I continue this for say 10 reps. Then I pull off. So this is for a day. Then I do one all-out ride, that is for a 40 or 50 kilometer all-out ride. Then there will be 2 endurance rides in the week, mostly in the weekends, like Saturdays and Sundays. so long rides. This is how my training peak schedule used to be with my previous coaching setup. So I would like to understand how this would be different, or would you be incorporating something like running, or would you be sticking again with something like strength training, core, and weights?
So for the strength training plan, yeah, I'll offer you a training which basically works with your own body weight. If you can go to the gym, definitely do that. But the problem I have with strength training from not being with you in the gym at least once, right? To show you all the exercises and how they are done correctly. The thing is, I like you to definitely go to a gym, or have a gym in your basement or somewhere else. I wouldn't schedule it though. I would leave 2 rest days during the week though, okay? Where you can do strength training, and one really complete rest day where you do nothing. Definitely, okay. Because when we rest, we get better. I mean, that's how the body adapts to all those training stresses, right? So at least one where you do nothing, but on the rest day and also on the other days, you can work on the core as well. And that's my main concern, like having a good core, because if you get better and the legs get stronger, the lower back is also, I mean, it needs to basically counter the strength we have in the legs, right? Not to wobble around the bike. So that's what we need to have as well. And you can do that all like every day to your ride, or like 2 hours past the ride, before the ride. So core training is fine. And yeah, I'll offer that. It's just own body weight exercises, and they do the trick perfectly. Yeah.
Just a moment,
but it
Coach.
would be
Sorry, I think the meeting is going to get cancelled in like a minute or something. Let me just send out a new invite as soon as it does get cancelled, because I just created a.
we can live with the old. We can live with the old invite. That works.
Oh, we can.
Just yeah. Just click it again.
Okay. All